Savages. Saturday, February 1st. I'm getting ready to leave the country for 7 days. The family and I are heading on vacation to Punta Cana this Monday. Just thought I'd sit here on this beautiful morning and clear my mind by recording some thoughts and maybe go over some stuff that's been in my head for the last few days. The closer I get to this trip of ours, the more anxious I get. I don't enjoy traveling. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy the destination, but the day of travel is not fun for me. But nonetheless, I seem to be spending more and more time on social media these past weeks, simply to try to promote as much as possible what I'm doing on YouTube with SVGTV, trying to be clear and transparent about my intentions. Very critical of myself, so a lot of the times when I put myself out there, I'm always going to fear what the people have to say, but that's been the toughest battle in my life for many years, is the fear of being wrong, the fear of being critiqued, basically the fear of whatever, the fear of people think. I've gotten better at it. I've kind of learned to not give a shit as much, but it's still in me. And I understand that by promoting myself and putting myself out there like I do with YouTube, with social media, to most it sounds weird because most people just want to live their private life and not be involved like this and doing these kind of things. And there's part of me that fears that a lot of people might think that I'm doing this simply for attention. I'm not, I'm really not, because I feel like I have a purpose, and that part of that purpose includes doing this. I've been clear and transparent about what my intentions are. I'm just trying to tell my story, tell my experiences, and what I'm doing to be the best version of myself, or try to be the best version of myself every single day in this world, in this society. That's about it. I feel like a lot of people are struggling to find themselves, who they are. A lot of people are living unaware of their purpose, not caring that they might have a purpose. That's what scares me the most, is that a lot of people seem indifferent about having an impact, even if it's just a small one. And the more I see it, the more I feel the need to do this. I've tried it so many times, but the imposter syndrome in me just kicked in, and and plus I try to juggle so much in my life, because if I don't keep busy at all times, I get in my head and I don't want to be there. So I do a lot. I involve myself in coaching with my son. So during summer times, it's like I get to a point where I have to sacrifice certain things. So I've tried doing what I'm doing right now a lot of times in the past, and I've always had to sacrifice time spent doing that for something else, because it's more important to me. And at the end of the day, there's only so many hours I can sacrifice myself, and in that time there's time for myself, working out, running, making sure that's my time. I have time sacrificed to be a husband, to be a father, to be this, to be all the things I am in my life. And the more I put myself out there, the more I feel I feel the need to be informed, to be less ignorant on everything that's going on. Even though what I'm trying to promote on my channel is mostly surrounds around fitness, mental health, nutrition, all that kind of stuff, purpose and finding it and living it, I still feel the need to be informed on what's going on in the world. And unfortunately, what's going on in the world right now is extremely polarizing. I see a lot of people that seem to get captured right now and that are going real hard, and I feel like it's not good for them, for their mental health. And the reason why I say this is because I feel the same pull. I feel the same pull from my algorithm, from my phone, from everything I consume, to want to scream, want to tell my side, my perspective, my this, my that. But every time I do, it brings nothing but a confrontation from someone that is as willing to scream their point of view. And when I get in those situations, number one, I don't feel informed enough to have any sort of argument about politics, even though I have opinions and I believe that certain things are better than others. That's what happened when you're only given two real choices in the political system. Either it be Democrats or Republican, or liberals and conservatives here in Canada. It's like you get caught between two ideologies that might not cover all the bases for your needs and your life. And a lot of people choose not to get involved. And for the most part, that's what I try not to. It's hard these days. I'm a parent, and I feel that it's important to follow the world's politics in order to understand what type of world my kids are going to grow up in. So I try to stay with all the trend, no matter how negative the impact is sometimes on my mental health, which it is. It's hard sometimes because, again, social media and technology has done a really, really good job at making us fight each other online instead of on the battlefield like 150 years ago. But for myself, I feel that it's necessary to a certain extent to stay informed. I feel it's a responsibility of mine as a parent to prepare my kids for the world ahead. And if I don't pay attention to that type of shit, even though I fucking hate it. I hate what it's doing to the world. I hate seeing people get lost in these ideologies that are so stupid. And then they feel the need to scream it as loud as possible and to mock and try to bring down the other side as hard as possible. I see a lot of people more worried about being right than doing the right thing. And that scares me because it shows an unwillingness to work together, and it's separating more and more. So as a father, as a husband, as someone that sees himself as a protector of his family, as a provider, I try to do everything that's under my control, That's 100% where my priorities lie. Like, do everything that you can control. Take care of everything you can control. You can control your health, control your health. You can control this, all the things I can control. And the things I can't control, again, I try to pay attention because I feel it's important for me to be able to provide the proper education to my kids, even though my kids I'm not trying to direct them in a certain direction. That's definitely not what I'm trying to do. I obviously let them make their own choices. My kids have been exposed to social media already. Some might think it's horrible. I try my best to educate them and making sure they understand that to question everything they hear, see online, that most of what they hear is bullshit, and that they need to do their own research. I try to raise critical thinkers, make sure they don't get caught up in all this bullshit. But I'm not afraid of them being exposed to it. I'm not at all. I'm not of that group, and I don't pretend to be. Kids have their phones, and we restrict it during school time to a certain extent, but that's how we choose to operate. And it makes my job as a parent to make sure I educate them the right way, the way I think is right. But at the end of the day, I'm going to support them no matter what their choice is in life. I'm their father, and I'll love them forever, no matter what. I find it extremely difficult to not get married to all these ideas I have in my head and where I stand right now, either be politically, I hate using that word, so you just in different points of my life right now and where I stand and what I believe is right for me, my family, and also for society in general. I try to be as objective as possible. I think about and I critically analyze everything I try to. I do understand that my algorithm is definitely more favored into one direction based on all my interests, which I find fucked up, but it's a completely different story. I'm not going to get into that. I think people need to, though I will say this, I really hope people understand that every single person that has a phone attached to their hip lives in a completely different algorithm. Some of you live in a very close, I want to use a word here, but I don't think it's right, so I won't. Although I think a lot of algorithms are extremely similar, which creates echo chambers. Think like if I take my algorithm versus my wife's algorithm, it's completely different. So I'm aware that I have to be careful to not get captured. This thing learns everything about me. You have to know that. So it pumps information your way that knows that you're going to enjoy, that knows that it's going to keep you on this. And even though I am definitely addicted to this, I am aware I am addicted to this. I am aware of the information. So even though the information might try to pull me in one direction, I am aware that there's an other point of view, that there's an other perspective that I am not exposed to unless I go and seek it out on my own. I think a lot of people, that's where it stops. They just choose to consume everything their algorithm pumps their way, not necessarily understanding that it is molding your thoughts, your ideas based on a few things you enjoy. And you search and you think everything you research on this phone gets pumped into your social media. Unless you use browsers, I believe Brave that I use doesn't do that. It doesn't share information, which honestly, Brave looks like this. I can't see him, but it's like a lion face. Ever since I started using this a couple years ago, it's definitely helped because I don't think it sends information from that app to all the other apps. I think it keeps everything. Anyway, I digress. I think a lot of the times it stops there. It stops where people aren't willing to go and try to see the opposite perspective. And then it creates fighting and everything. And then I don't think people understand this, the possibility that with this technology, it seems to be easier to kind of erase or change history. I've also started noticing that. I think generation after generation, you're moving further away from certain things that my generation, it doesn't seem that far away. Like for certain people, the Second World War is something that is still in them because maybe they had a grandparent that fought in that war. So it's maybe only 2 generations removed. And then when you move down the line, younger people might not have or know of any relatives that fought in that war or that knew someone like that. So I think it creates less of a need or less of a want to educate ourselves on that war or on how things were. And although I am seeing a lot of people going back right now and studying one side of that history, but that's something else. I'm starting to digress in that. I'm starting to shift this in something that's extremely political, and that's not my point. I think my point is about all this is that I get that some of us think we're right in what we think and what's going on right now. And I understand that some of us think it's wrong what's going on right now. I understand that. I try my best to see it from the opposite perspective, and I try to critically analyze all the beliefs that I'm currently, quote unquote, attached to. Again, the hardest thing in this world that I've struggled with is to not get attached, not get married to your ideas. Your ideas need to just be something you currently believe in based on the information you have, but you always have to be open to the possibility that you might be wrong. There's a possibility here. I can have a conversation with someone that doesn't believe in the same things I believe, and I could respect that person and that person could respect me, as long as you can admit that there's a possibility that they might be right in certain points and you might be wrong. It doesn't mean you have to change your mind. But sometimes just admitting that there might be a possibility that you're wrong or that the other person has a point, just that. If you're able to do that, but not able to go past that and cancel the other person completely and say, I can't associate with you simply because you believe something that's different than what I believe. Dude, I don't get that. I don't understand that at all. Like, I don't think there's anything. I really don't want to talk about this at all like this, but man, I've been seeing a lot of people promoting violence on other people of the opposite side of their ideology openly on social media. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy, because I think you're at the point where like you objectively, I don't honestly, again, I don't think I'm educated enough to make a critical point or argument about this. Like, I just don't think because again, I'm at the point where I'm not married to the things I believe, but it's also not important in my life enough. It is not a priority to educate myself to the point where I can argue other people about it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But I don't think it's healthy for individuals and society that we just start calling the opposite side names, some that pretty fucked up, and expect everything to get better. Think if there's one thing both sides can agree on, is that we need this world to get better. Just get better. And advocating and promoting violence on people of the opposite side cannot be the way we make this better. It cannot. I am not a genius, but I am intelligent enough to realize that that can't be the way. We cannot make this world, this society better by promoting violence on people. And calling them names that, guys, again, I think it's dangerous. And I'll end with this because 30 minutes into this. On Wednesday, I was at work and I had to do something in the office. So I went into the office, and the girl that works in the office, she was listening to the radio and so I sat on the computer next to her and I started doing something, and I caught a glimpse of the song that was playing, and it was Civil War by Civil. I love that song. That's a great fucking song, right? And I'm not going to play it because I'm pretty sure if I play it and the mic gets it, this video is going to get booted off YouTube. So I'm not going to play it. But I will say something about it and end on this. I sat there, I did my thing, and I was singing along. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's a good song. Yeah. I don't need your civil war. Anyway, I'm singing along and I'm doing my thing for like 2-3 minutes. Song's playing, I'm singing along. I leave. This is on Wednesday. Thursday, I'm singing that song all day long. It's stuck in my head. I'm like, yeah, that's a good ass song. Yesterday, it's still in my head a few times. I'm like, man, why can't I get this song out of my head? I listened to other music all day yesterday. Country music, a few songs. I downloaded some new albums, trying to find some new music. Still, I get home, I'm singing it. This morning, I'm still singing it. I'm on my way back from dropping my son at baseball this morning, and I'm singing it in the car. I can't get it out of my head. So I get home and I listen to it. And on iTunes, you can, because I wanted to read the lyrics, because you could read the lyrics on it, you know. And I don't know if you've ever heard the song Civil War by Guns N' Roses, but so this morning I understood why it was in my head for 4 days, because I think it wanted me to go read the lyrics. Sometimes I have to fix that, and it's shitty. So I'm going to read a little part, all right, which, look at the hate we're breeding, look at the fear we're feeding, look at the lives we're leading, the way we've always done before. My hands are tied, the billions shift from side to side, and the wars go on with brainwashed pride for the love of God and our human rights. And all these things are swept aside by bloody hands time can't deny, and are washed away by your genocide, and history hides the lies of our civil war. Man, when I read that this morning, I'm like, that is extremely fitting for what's going on right now, isn't it? Am I wrong about that? That's what social media is selling me anyway. That there's a war going on outside. Yet, every time I leave my house, I'm as safe as possible. I see no fighting out there. None. I come across people and have conversations, people I don't even know. We exchange ideas because we, guys at the gym. Hey, how are you? Great, I see you around. Spark conversations, start asking questions. I see you. Make connections. I don't see no wars. I don't. The only place I see war, fighting, hatred is on this thing. Go outside. You'll see we live in a time that is great, full of potential. So instead of being caught up in all this bullshit, all this fighting online, I think it's time we fucking realize that it's all being fed to us. By who? I don't know, but it's not important. I think it's important that we realize these things and we become aware of these things so that we don't get as caught up in all this bullshit and realize that there's a lot more that's going on right now than what you're seeing here. I hope I made sense on this. I really tried my best to these are things I battle with in my head a lot, and I just feel like once I sit here and record myself saying these things and put them out there, then I don't have to keep them in. It's like, all right, I've internalized them and now I externalize them. Boom. People might have comments. I think I tried to stay as biased as possible. I mean, Jesus, I stopped myself from saying a few words on here that I really wanted to say, but I did my best. And my intentions are coming. Whatever you think of me, I hope that the one thing you can say is that my intentions are coming from a good place. Truly hope that you're out there, that you're grinding, that you're working hard. I really hope that you're fulfilling your purpose or searching for what your purpose is. I am of the belief that we were all put here with a purpose. We all have a gift that you need to use it. Get at it. Do everything possible every single day to become the best version of yourself. Much love and stay savage.